time of the year, there are a few guidelines all ghosts and goblins should follow. Always stay on sidewalks. Never go to a stranger's house. And never go out alone.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Also, happy Halloween! This is the final Halloween tutorial that will be going up this year on my channel. I really hope you've enjoyed this month. Let's get straight into this tutorial. So I've airbrushed my face using the MAC Pro Performance HD Airbrush Makeup, and this is in the shade Genuine Orange. And then I change to the shade Basic Red and start to create some triangles over my eyes for the pumpkin. If you didn't know who this character is, his name is Sam and he is from the film Trick or Treat. He is like the face of the film and he's like a little pumpkin demon child. Unless you've seen the film, it might sound really weird, but I just wanted to make a Halloween look out of it. So once I'd done the triangles over the eyes, I did a triangle over the nose, and then I also did a bit of a smile, as you can see. I then start to airbrush the lines down my forehead and my neck to create a pumpkin look. I then get this Snazaroo face paint in light beige and a Now art brush and start to paint the outline of the triangles on the face. I make them quite big and bring them up to my forehead, but then I also do the same on my nose. Then I start to create the cheekbones and then bring it down into the smile. As this is a character from a film, I would really recommend using some pictures as references for this makeup look, otherwise it could be quite difficult. Even if you was recreating this and you use the pictures from my Instagram, just anything just to help you get the lines where they need to be. So I created a frown line on my forehead, and I also did a line straight down the middle of the nose. I then start to do some shading around the frown lines, and I use the Marianne Fall in Love palette for this. I then do exactly the same around the cheekbones as like a contour and around the kind of smile lines and the apples of the cheeks. As this is kind of resembling a skull as well, I've hollowed out the temples with this dark brown eyeshadow from that Fall in Love palette. I then go back to the frown on the forehead and I create a bit of a contour on the bridge of my nose. Using that nail art brush that I used earlier, I put it in some black face paint by Snazaroo and I go over the lines on the eyes that I drew with that beige colour. I then draw some black triangles with that same brush on either side of my nostrils. I then line the mouth that I had already drawn. I then start to paint the nose with a dark red, but I completely changed this later on because I really didn't like it, so I'm going to skip this step, but don't worry about copying it if you're following this tutorial. But the thing you can do on your nose is draw the outline in it in the black face paint. So once I've wiped off all that red colour I put in the nose, I then go over it with an orange face paint by Snazaroo that is very similar to the skin colour that we've used. But I keep them black triangles that we'd already drawn on the nostrils earlier. Then to make it resemble a little bit more of the colour that is in the eyes, I went over it with a little bit of a red face paint just to darken the orange up a little bit. I then cover my eyelids with a black face paint and then get a black eyeshadow to start doing some shading around the eyes. So what I do is kind of create a little bit of a triangle inside the triangle that we have already drawn with that black eyeshadow to create a shadow to make it look, I don't know how to describe it, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I also get some of that eyeshadow and put it underneath my eyes as well. And then I get that black face paint and create a little bit of a border around that triangle on the eye. I then fill in that border with a orange face paint that I used earlier, just to act as a little bit of a highlight. I then decided that I wanted to create some more lines on my forehead, but this time I did it with an eyeshadow and a blending brush. I then go down to the mouth and decide to contour above the chin and around the jawline. Then I also add that eyeshadow around the mouth. As we're going to fill the mouth in later, it doesn't matter if the shadow goes inside it, but we're mainly trying to create a bit of a shadow on the outside of it. Then with some leftover shadow on a brush, I then go over the cheekbones and just create some little lines. I then fill in my waterline with this black eyeliner pencil by MAC. Then once I've done that, I fill in the mouth that we had drawn with a black face paint by Snazaroo. Now I think my favourite part of this tutorial was drawing the stitches. So I get a white face paint on a small paintbrush and just lightly press down to create the stitches. I do this on the eyes, the nose and the mouth. I then start to create some veins down the forehead, and I do this with that nail art brush and a red face paint and just wiggle the lines down my forehead. Going back to the stitches as they are dry, I get that nail art brush with a little bit of black face paint and draw a little kind of black line on the outside of the stitches on either side to make it look a little bit more 3D. I thought the nose needed a little bit more contouring, so I added some dark shadow either side and blended it out. Then to add more texture to the forehead, I get that nail art brush and an orange face paint and draw some lines down my forehead. With that same colour, I go over the lines that I originally had drawn that make the frown on the forehead. To finish off the smile, I carry on that black line across my lips, and then to extend my natural lips to make the whole mouth look bigger, I then do some contouring around the whole mouth to then extend the lips. Then to extend the top lip, I get an orange face paint and basically paint on my lips and make them go along the whole of the mouth and not just where my natural lips are. Moving down to the neck, I decide to darken the lines that I had drawn earlier with the red eyeshadow that I got from the Marianne Fall in Love palette. And then I get that Snazaroo Orange face paint and fill in between them dark red lines. I then fill my ears in with that dark red eyeshadow as I don't want them to be highlighted and really stand out in this look. Now my favourite part of this look was the eyes, so I now get that orange face paint and draw the orange crosses on my eyes. Then I get a fan and make sure they are completely dry before I open my eyes, otherwise it'll be a disaster. And this is the final look. To finish this look off, I did create the signature pumpkin lollipop, and I only created this out of foam and a Sharpie and a stick, so you could really easily make this at home yourself if you wanted to. I want to say a huge thank you not only for watching this videos, but if you have watched any of my other Halloween tutorials this year. I am overwhelmed with the support, especially on Instagram, and the direct messages that I'm getting. I am honestly so grateful. If you are not ready for Halloween to be over, make sure you're following me on my Instagram, because I am currently in Florida right now, and I'll be going to the Universal Halloween Horror Nights as well as the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. So if you would like to catch up with me on there, I'll be posting on my Instagram stories. You can see all of that. My name is @Brooke.Ellis_. It is linked in the description as always. If you have liked Halloween on my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I will be carrying on some crazy looks till the end of the year, especially around Christmas time. But if you have missed any fashion videos, they will be coming back soon as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!